Today I'm going to talk about the latest generation of Tahoe, Suburban, Yukon XL. This is the 11th generation of the Suburban. Suburban nameplate you might find interesting to find out goes all the way back to 1935. At that point, Chevrolet made something called the Suburban Carryall. It was actually made 2 years prior to that, in 1933 and 34 for the National Guard and the CCC, the Conservancy Corps, as a wood-paneled vehicle on a half-ton truck chassis. And this again is a half-ton truck. It is General Motors' current half-ton 1500 series. The truck uses the same wheelbase in the Suburban as it does an Avalanche. You can go to a Yukon, which would be the shorter version of this, same as a Tahoe would be the shorter version of this. Those vehicles are about 20 inches shorter than this vehicle is. This has a 130-inch wheelbase. Those have a 114-inch wheelbase, so they share a lot of the components. From this point forward, the Suburban, Avalanche, Tahoe, Yukon XL, and for that matter, some of the Denali machinery is going to be the same. It's just a matter of what you do with the balance of the vehicle and what you accomplish with that. From going with a regular cab truck to an extended cab truck to a crew cab to this vehicle or to a Tahoe. This truck uses a lot of hydroforming on the front frame rails. It made the truck stronger as far as the frame. Also allowed for a little softer ride habit because the frame was doing its job. You could soften some of the suspension components. The front suspension in a four-wheel drive vehicle prior to the latest generation of 2007 used a torsion bar front suspension. At this point, they've changed to a coil-over shock suspension. And for that matter, they've changed to rack and pinion steering. The rack and pinion steering allows a lot better on-center feel for the truck. Again, between the older body and this one, the front of the vehicle, they managed to tighten up the gaps and tolerances in the front end of the vehicle, added a lot of slope to the windshield rake for better aerodynamics and to save fuel. As far as that matter goes, to save fuel, here in 07 and the later models, they added something called active fuel management. Earlier it was called displacement on demand. Active fuel management basically does not fuel 4 of the cylinders when you don't need the power of a full V8. What they did was to add an oil galley and basically lifters around 4 of the intake valve lifters. When you don't need that power, they drop the oil pressure to those lifters, and so the intake valves in those 4 cylinders do not operate. At the same time, they don't fuel those 4 cylinders. They cut the fuel off with the electrically controlled fuel injectors. That helps with your gas mileage. They also, on this vehicle, the alternators take time off. They do not charge continuously. When you need electrical power, they work. The rest of the time, they just are along for the ride, again, to save you some fuel mileage. If you pay attention and watch the voltage gauge inside the vehicle, you might notice the needle move back and forth, and that's kind of an indication of what's going on there. And when you see the volt meter drop down, you're saving some gas. This is an LTZ package, and you have things on this vehicle like a power folding mirror. Things are a little closer to your garage. Also integrated turn signals in the outside mirrors, memory settings for 2 drivers, heated seats that have heated bottom and back, or if you have back problems, back only. And there's 3 different temperature settings for that. The lighting is automatic. The 4-wheel drive system in this is electrically controlled. And you can be in 2-wheel, an automatic mode, a 4-high mode, or a 4-low mode. 4-low mode is something you would use for usually an off-road condition. Perhaps you're in a boat landing, you want to control something a little better. It's basically going to cut your top speed in half but double the power to the wheels. The 4-wheel drive mode, when you're in full 4-wheel, is a full mechanical lockup to all 4 wheels. If you have alternating conditions, they offer you an automatic mode, which allows the system to self-engage the 4-wheel drive system. It's kind of a halfway mode. What it does is it takes the front wheel half shafts that turn with the wheels, They are into the front differential, and when you tell it to engage the automatic mode, a pneumatic chamber locks those half shafts to the front differential, and now the powertrain, the front wheels, the differential, the drive shaft going into the transfer case are all turning at road speed. When the wheel speed sensor notices slippage, it will now shift the transfer case and put power to the front wheels. The nice thing about that is kind of a no-brainer. You can engage that, not worry about whether you're in 2 or 4. You don't want to be in 4-wheel drive when you're on a dry surface, so using this allows you to drive the vehicle on a dry road. So alternating conditions between wet and dry, this is kind of, like I said, a no-brainer. Also, this one has a power adjustable gas and brake pedal that you can store the memory on, along with the seat positions and the mirror positions. So if you have a couple different drivers, push the button, the seat goes to your spot. Of course, tilt, cruise, all the other features. This one has a navigation system on it. The navigation system will incorporate a backup camera. Automatic temperature. Nice thing there is you engage, tell the system to pick a certain temperature. In the cold weather, I like to tell people the nice thing it will do is it will not stir cold air around until some warmth is available. Kind of like the same thing as your furnace does. Center seats operate fairly simply. To access the rear with buckets, that's easy. You can go down between. But if you have a split bench, or if you want to access behind the seat, you just pull the lever twice. The seat rotates up. You've got your entry to the rear. Push the seat down, bring it back up, and you're ready to go. 20-inch tires and wheels, nice look. This one has electrically operated lift gate. The rear seats in this can be separately removed. You can have one seat left, take them both out, whichever you want. Basically, all you need to do, fold the seat down, grab the handle, slide the seat back. That out. There we go. Can you? Okay, good. Seat goes back in. Hitch on here is standard with the vehicle. Also an integrated wiring harness, 7-lead wiring harness so that you can run electric brake controls. Tow rating about 8,000 pounds. As far as low maintenance things, the vehicle uses a long life engine coolant, good for 5 years. Platinum tip plugs, good for 100,000 miles. The body panels are 2-sided galvanized metal. Anything below the glass is 2-sided. And also extensive use of stainless steel in the exhaust system. And I think that's it.